Today on Sugar Spun Run, I'm showing you how to make Swiss Meringue Buttercream. Hey everyone, Sam here, and today I am really excited to be sharing my favorite recipe for Swiss Meringue Buttercream. Now, this buttercream is a lot different from traditional American buttercream that just uses primarily powdered sugar and butter. We are going to be whipping egg whites into a nice meringue. I'm really excited to share this one with you. It has a great flavor, it's not too sweet, it has a great texture, it pipes beautifully. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, the tools that you use for this recipe are very important, and the first one that you need is a very clean mixing bowl. Now, I really recommend making this buttercream in a stand mixer because it takes a lot of whipping. So you want to make sure that the bowl of your stand mixer is spotless. There should be no grease in here. It shouldn't be even a little bit wet. It really needs to be completely clean, or your egg whites might not whip properly. Now you're going to need 6 large egg whites, and I recommend using egg whites that are at room temperature. At least that's what I always use. Now you want to make sure that there's absolutely no bit of yolk in your egg whites. So just the egg whites. Again, if you have even a little bit of that yellow yolk in there, your egg whites are not going to whip up properly. You're going to have to start all over. So I'm going to add these to my bowl. And now you're going to need 1 3/4 cup of granulated sugar. And yes, this is granulated sugar. I know all of my other frostings use powdered sugar. We are using granulated today. And I also like to add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I usually make this a scant 1/4 teaspoon, so just under a 1/4 teaspoon. That's just my personal preference. And then once you have everything in that bowl, we're just gonna whisk everything together until it's nicely combined, just a brief whisking. At this point, we're about ready to head over to our stovetop. But first, you are going to need a medium-sized saucepan, and you want to fill this with about 1.5 inches of water. Now, you want to make sure that this saucepan is large enough that your mixing bowl fits in it nicely. Let me show you how it should look. So our mixing bowl fits in here perfectly. And another important thing is that you don't want the bowl to be touching the water in your saucepan. So this one is not, it's not touching the bottom of the saucepan, it's not touching the water at all, but it fits in there nicely. So we're not going to put our mixing bowl on there just yet. We're going to start by just taking our saucepan with 1.5 inches of water over to our stovetop, and we're gonna heat this until it's simmering. I usually just keep my stovetop heat on medium-low while I'm doing this. Now, once our water is simmering, we're gonna go ahead and place our bowl right in that saucepan. And now we're going to start whisking. You're going to want to whisk the contents of this bowl pretty much constantly at this point. Now, there are 2 things we're looking for before we can remove our egg white and sugar mixture from our saucepan. The first thing is you want to make sure that it's not gritty or grainy. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that syrup. Now, it is going to be hot or pretty warm, and I'm going to drop a little bit between my fingers, and I'm just going to rub that. And if that feels gritty at this point, the sugar is not dissolved. We're not ready to go on. This is actually feeling pretty good. Now, the other thing that we're looking for is that we want these eggs to reach 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, this is very important because it's going to kill any bacteria or anything that might make you sick that could be in these eggs. Since I'm currently pregnant, that's obviously very important to me right now. So I'm just going to be using my thermometer to periodically check the eggs, and you want to make sure that it reaches 160 degrees Fahrenheit. We're in pretty good shape now. Our egg whites have reached temperature. They're not gritty or grainy or anything like that, so our sugar is dissolved. So let's go ahead and take this bowl over to our stand mixer. Now we're ready to start beating our egg whites until we get a nice, thick, glossy meringue. Now at this point, I like to use a whisk attachment. So I'm gonna fit this in. And like I said, we're gonna now beat these egg whites until we have a nice thick and glossy meringue. So I'm just gonna turn my mixer speed to about medium-high. Now it is gonna take about 10 to 15 minutes for your egg whites to reach stiff peaks, so you're gonna be waiting for a little while. This is perfect. We have that nice thick volume. It's very stiff, as you can see. You've got stiff peaks. The meringue is not folding over on itself or receding back into the bowl of our mixer. So we are in really good shape with our meringue. Now, the only thing at this point is if you feel your mixer bowl, it's probably still gonna feel a little bit warm. Now, if you'd like, you can just keep running your mixer on medium speed until the bowl no longer feels warm to the touch. but sometimes I worry that I'm just gonna kill my stand mixer by doing that. Sometimes it gets a little hot. So once I have my thick, full meringue, I give it a little bit of a break and I just wait until the bowl cools down completely. Now you want, if you touch the outside of your bowl, the bottom of the bowl, it should not feel warm to the touch. If it's warm, what's gonna happen when you add your butter is you're gonna have a soupy mess. So have patience, wait for that to cool down. Once your meringue has cooled completely, remember it's important that it cools completely, I like to switch from my whisk attachment over to my paddle attachment. I just find that it helps everything get combined a little bit easier. The paddle does a better job of reaching the sides of the bowl. So let's switch that out. And next you need your butter. Now for this recipe, I use 2 cups or 4 sticks or 1 pound of unsalted butter. Now the temperature of this butter is actually really important. You want to make sure that it is softened, but you don't want it to be so softened that it's melty. So especially if you set this out on a warm summer day, sometimes it'll get a little oily. That's too soft. You also don't want it to be too cold. I like to set mine out about an hour before I'm ready to start using it. It should, if I press my finger into it, it should make a nice little indent, but it shouldn't just come apart and be oily in my hands. This is at the perfect temperature. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my mixer speed to medium, and then I'm going to start adding this butter. I'm just going to be adding 1 tablespoon of butter at a time, and I won't add the next tablespoon until it looks like the previous one has been absorbed. Now, even if you've done every step pretty much perfectly up to this point, you still might notice that your buttercream starts to break down a little bit or even look a little bit curdled. Don't panic if this happens. You're going to want to just keep mixing everything together, and it should come together for you by the time you're done, by the time you're finished adding all of your butter. Now, if you're mixing your buttercream and it's still not coming together and still not coming together, and it just seems like it's not going to happen after you've added all your butter, what you can do is you can actually take your bowl, put it in the fridge for about 10 minutes, take it back out and start mixing it again. And hopefully that will help bring everything together for you. Once you have all your butter combined, you're going to want to grab a spatula and just scrape the sides and the bottom of the bowl. And then we're going to beat everything together again for just another minute on medium-high speed. We just want to make sure that we have all of our meringue and our butter completely combined. This is looking beautiful. Our Swiss Meringue Buttercream is just about finished. Now all we want to do is add a little bit of flavoring. So I'm just going to be using vanilla extract. I'm going to add 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract right in there. And then I'm just going to beat everything together, again, medium-high speed for another 30 seconds to a minute, just until everything is completely combined so that flavor is nicely distributed. I mean, take a look at that. This is beautiful. This is perfect Swiss Meringue Buttercream. It tastes so good. It's not, one of my favorite things about it is it's not too sweet. It's not like an American buttercream that's always just a little bit too sweet for me. This is perfectly flavored. It's so good. I think you're gonna love it. And we are ready to go ahead and pipe this on whatever you want. I found that this Swiss Meringue Buttercream, this amount tends to cover 12 cupcakes if you want to really generously frost them like I like to do, 24 if you're just doing a nice little smear on top. It'll also frost a 13 by 9 inch cake or a 2-layer 8 inch or 9 inch round cake. And I love these large piping tips. This is my Attico 848. I'll leave a link to it in the description because I'm really bad at decorating cakes or cupcakes, but these always make me feel like a pro. And that is how you make Swiss Meringue Buttercream. I really hope you give this frosting a shot, especially if typical American buttercream is too sweet for you like it usually is for me. This is a nice balance. It's got a great texture. I can't say enough good things about it. It's my new favorite frosting, maybe next to cream cheese frosting. All right, if you try this out, please let me know what you think. I love hearing from you, and make sure you check out my next video where I will be using this frosting to cover up some fun gender reveal cupcakes, and I'll be announcing whether Zach and I are having a boy or a girl. Ooh, take a guess. Leave a guess in the comments. I would love to know what you think. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. I'm sorry, but there's no way I'm going to bite into this without making a total mess, so. This frosting is so good. It's so silky, the way it melts on your tongue, not too sweet. Try it out. Hey, if you guys enjoyed today's Swiss Meringue Buttercream, I would really appreciate it if you would give me a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Also, if you enjoyed today's recipe, here are a few others you might like as well.